to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3OT. Oh, sorry about being, a little strange on the uptick. It's snowing like crazy here, which is a fact I did not know when I left my dorm. But yeah, we're here. Yeah, the 3OT is back, ladies and gents, and it is the day before the NBA draft. It is the day after the trade period opened, so we have so much to talk about in the NBA world. Sadly, that means we likely won't get into the NFL world. It's just how it has to work. This week, the NBA is so massive with, the draft tomorrow, all the trades we've had, free agency opens in a few days as well. So we just kind of had to go with that. So without further ado, let's get it started with the Bucks going all in on Giannis. And I mean, you can't blame them. There is no future in Milwaukee outside of Giannis right now. That's all it is. They had to do everything they did to keep him. Cleveland lost LeBron twice. OKC lost Kevin Durant. Like, you do not look forward to the future without your generational player, because without him, there's nothing they can do. I can't hear myself in my headphones, but let me try to figure this out. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that also doesn't work. Nice. At the end of the day, they had to do everything they could. So with that being said, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, has his two new running mates, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I still can't hear myself. Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Kings, and, there we go. And Drew Holiday from the Pelicans. For Drew Holiday, they gave up Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, 3 first-round picks, including the 22nd overall pick from this year. Something like that. Either 22nd or, 19th. But something like that. Some mid-20s pick this year. 2024 unprotected, 2027 unprotected, along with pick swaps in 2025. Wait, no, it's 2025 unprotected, 2027 unprotected, pick swaps 2024 and 2026. That's a lot to give up for Drew Holiday, admittedly. But this goes back to the whole thing that happened with Kawhi and Paul George. They gave up so much to get Paul George, but they also got Kawhi because of it. Take that as you will. I didn't like that trade because I would have gone for someone other than Paul George, but they did it. Yeah, they really did it. All right, let's really get into it now so that my brain is set. The Drew Holiday trade. Skip Bayless said that this is a marginal improvement from Eric Bledsoe. It is most certainly not. Also, those first-round picks don't matter if Giannis stays, and it is trending more and more to Giannis staying on the Supermax. And that's exactly what the Bucks were trying to do with this string of moves. They're trying to get Giannis to stay on the Supermax. That's all it was ever about. Drew Holiday is a perfect fit for that roster. May not be the natural playmaker that they really need, but as far as an on-ball creator, point of attack defender, he's a better defender than Bledsoe, and Bledsoe was a player that hung his hat on defense. He's a much better shooter and creator than Bledsoe. And I think the more important get is Bogdan Bogdanovic. I think he's such an underrated, incredibly good player. Genuinely, the most Walmart version of Luka Doncic. He is an exceptional creator as far as passing, shot making goes. He's a very good passer, has good ball handling for his size to make it work, and he tries on defense. He's been extraordinarily clutch throughout his career, including his career in Europe. And, he's been on winning teams outside of the Kings. Even the Kings, when they got Bogdanovic to come over, looked better because of him. He was a big part of the culture shift. And, now they've lost him. I have no clue what the Kings are doing, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But this does a lot for Milwaukee. They have two additional creators who aren't going to be scared to do something once they catch the ball. They can attack closeouts. And that's what the Bucks' weakness was. Even if the wall attack thing works against Giannis, it only works because the players on the outside either don't make their shots as much or because, they just can't do anything once the ball is in their hands. I think Wesley Matthews is a very good role player. He can't create once he gets the ball. George Hill, similar situation. Known for three-point shooting, doesn't do much else. That's all it is. Ersan Ilyasova was barely playing, so that's not a loss for the Bogdanovic trade. I love Dante DiVincenzo. I think he's going to be really good. However, is Bogdanovic is an improvement over DiVincenzo. I think DiVincenzo can be a very high-level starter. I think Bogdanovic is already that with improvement, with chance to improve. And I think this Bucks team looks dangerous. I mean, I was talking to Patrick and Kevin last night. They've been on the show about all this insanity with what the Bucks were doing. And we kind of came to the conclusion that the wall defense isn't going to work on Giannis anymore, and the Bucks are genuinely dangerous. Patrick was having a whole breakdown because he needs the Lakers to make more moves. So it is exciting to see this for the Bucks. I'm hoping Giannis stays. I think this kind of guarantees he'll stay on the Supermax. Who knows if he'll get traded after that? But those picks don't matter if you have Giannis. Because how old is Giannis going to be in 2027? Or 2026? He was drafted 25th. No, yeah. He was drafted 2013? Is he on his 7th or 8th year now? That sounds about right. Because, 4-year rookie scale and then 4-year extension. Or 5-year extension because, this year coming up. That makes sense. So by the time it's 2027, he'll be 14 years in. He should still be at least functional. They're not going to be a great team, but they also shouldn't be a bottom 3 team. Who knows? And if they are, look, the Pelicans just got more assets. Team, picks that far into the future, usually you can value them pretty highly. Look, before this year, the Heat 2021 first-round pick was supposed to be one of the 5 best assets in the league. The Sixers got Tobias Harris for it. The Clippers used it as a big part of the Paul George trade. That was supposed to be the best asset out there right now. And, now it's not because the Heat look like they've been improving so much. But picks far into the future will always have value. As far as what they'll turn into, you never know. So I think this is a great way to pick up assets for the Pelicans. I think it's, a good trade for the Bucks if Giannis stays. I think the Bogdanovic trade, no matter what, is a good trade for the Bucks because they get significantly younger on the wings, and the only player they give up is DiVincenzo. And again, I really like DiVincenzo as a player. I had him as one of my more underrated players in the league, breakout candidates. I think he's going to be really good for the Kings. Bogdanovic is undoubtedly the better player. So I don't care about, all the concerns of what are they going to do on the bench now? I think Bogdanovic should be a 6th man and be in the closing lineup. I just think the roster fits more that way. If they bring back Wesley Matthews, have, Drew Matthews, whoever they want, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and then Brook Lopez, and then you replace Wesley Matthews with Bogdanovic, but you need that additional playmaking, scoring off the bench. I think if they do that, Bogdanovic could win 6th man of the year. We are not going to see Giannis three-peat for MVP. That's just not going to happen. But in terms of that team could still win some awards. And that team has a lot to be excited for. Again, if Giannis resigns. And if Giannis doesn't resign, look, you will be able to say at the end of the day, we did everything we could. And I'm sure other players will appreciate that the Bucks went all in for their superstar. Because not tons of people will do that. There's not a lot of teams who will do that. I mean, look, the Cavs didn't trade for Amari Stoudemire in the last year of, the 2010 Cavs. They didn't trade for him because they were scared that LeBron was going to leave. This past time around with LeBron, they refused to trade the Nets pick for any valuable, pickups. And why they did that, I don't necessarily know, but that's what they did. Look, come on now. The teams are always looking to the future. The Thunder stayed completely pat. They didn't pay Harden, but that was years before it ever got to Durant potentially leaving. And at that point, you're thinking, well, we don't want the Bucks don't want this to happen a third time. So they didn't. And if he does leave, they can say, hey, look, we may not get our picks back, but we can still flip Drew Holiday. We can still flip Chris Middleton. We can, build around Bogdan Bogdanovic for a little bit till we get more good talent. We have pieces on our roster that teams will still want. Literally everyone wants Brook Lopez, who's just rim protecting, shooting center on a not crazy deal. And look, the Bucks are built to win the East. And I am not big on the Nets, but they made a really under-the-radar move that I think will pay off for them. So let's get into the Nets. I don't think they're the favorites to come out of the East this year.